Good evening, troops. A wee salute there for you. So, as the video says, 18 months in sobriety. Here's what happened. Do you know what? I'm actually over 19 months now. I've been putting off making this video for some reason. I don't know why. But I guess I'm here to talk about what happened and how I got here and all of this stuff and all these things that have happened through my sobriety. It's been quite the journey, man. So, I could not get a weekend sober. I couldn't get it. Like, I remember trying to stay in on a Friday night after finishing my work and I was climbing the walls, man. Why do I fucking need to go out? And I felt this urge that was indescribable, man. The first thing I done was I had to surrender. And it was not this Christmas, but the one before. And I had ruined Christmas Day and I was away to this party. And I remember walking up the road and all this stuff happened and I just remember crying, fucking breaking my heart, crying. I can't do this anymore. I just cannot do it. It was getting very, very, very painful every time that I was drinking and drugging, man. Very painful. And that first couple of weeks, that first couple of days when all of these toxins are coming out of your body, you're not sleeping, you're sweating, you're paranoid. I obviously stopped drinking at the Christmas time and then it's New Year, people are out for the bells. That first little part, man, was touch and go for a long time. It was touch and go. And then I get sent, I don't have any social media other than this YouTube stuff. I get sent this video, a link thing, and it was a podcast, and it was called Menace to Sobriety. And it was one of the Chelsea or the Towie people, I don't know who they are. Their name's Kirk anyway. And he was like, have you tried a CA meeting? I'm like, oh, whoa, man. I have to inject heroin to be at CA meetings, do you know what I mean? And I'm obviously not an alcoholic either because I don't sell the big issue or wake up and park benches, do you know? My delusional thinking convinced me that I successfully drink alcohol, take cocaine and Valium. Do you know, successfully is the word there, by the way. And this delusional thinking that I had, it was craziness. Anyway, it was like, if you tried a meeting, and I remember looking at my life, man, thinking that I was thousands of pounds in debt. I'd lost my driver's licence, my business, that girl I was meeting, staples in the back of my head through fighting. I'm lying. I'll do anything to manipulate people. Even the people who drink and take drugs had stopped answering my phone calls. My family members hate me. And if I'm being brutally honest, every single door was shut. Every one of them. And I'm like, do you know what? Let's just try it and see what happens. And I get there. at the first meeting. Sorry for yawn. I actually went for a nap today, which is something that I needed, and it wasn't through lack of sleep through drinking and drugging. So that's another benefit. My sleep's a lot better. Anyway, I try this meeting and I'm looking about and people are all laughing and joking and smiling, and I'm like, I didn't laugh and joke and smile for a long time. Um, and I keep coming back. Oh, I must be tired today, by the way. Anyway, I keep coming back and I find out about the wonders of Zoom, and there's a meeting on every day at 9:30, and I don't start work until about 11, 12, so this was perfect. And I keep coming back and I keep coming back, and I hear these things like get a big book and a sponsor, and I don't know what the fuck these people are talking about, man. And I asked somebody to help me, and he's like, yes. So I start going through the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. My passport for living, that is. So I start reading these pages in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and the first chapter was called The Doctor's Opinion. So I never knew what was wrong with me all my life. I didn't know. Why is it that people can go to the pub, have 2 pints, and go home when the football finishes? But every time I go to the pub, it's 3 and 4 days. It's not going to work. It's mayhem. Why is this? Why can I not just stop? And those people stop. And the big book describes it perfectly. And it's described as having an allergy in the body. Because I remember going to the pub, and every single time, if you would have strapped me up to a lie detector test, I would have passed with flying colours because I meant exactly what I was saying. But alcohol was so cunning, powerful and baffling that it speaks to me in my own voice and tells me a story that was never true. And it would tell me that this time it would be different. This time I'm going to go to the pub and have those 2 pints and drink like a gentleman. But it didn't happen like that. And an allergy in the dictionary was described as having an abnormal reaction. And the first time I had heard that broken down like that, this lightning bulb went off in my head. And I was like, do you know what? I do act differently. I do have a different reaction from all of my friends when I drink and use drugs. I do. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're onto something. I'm going to keep on reading. And I start going through this book with my sponsor. And there's a part in the doctor's opinion where it's describing the different types of drinker. Because I had fucking tried them all. Do you know what? I'm going to go home after 4 pints. If I go out and leave my bank card in the house, only drink lager. If I have a takeaway before I go out, if I drink a pint of milk, I'm going to go home when the pub shuts. And I tried fucking everything. But that book describes me perfectly. And all I'm wanting to do in that book is just identify, do I have this thing? 100%. And I can finally see now that I'm an alcoholic. 100%. I never thought I was, but I am. But today I've recovered. Um, anyway, the sentence in the book, it says about a man who is the manic depressive type and someone least understood by all of his friends. And the hairs in the back of my neck started going up, and I was like, they're talking about me. How do these people know this? How is a book in the 1930s describing how I think, how I feel? And I'm like, I've got that thing they've got. And it's a disease and an illness called alcoholism. And what that means is when I put one in, I have a different reaction from the normal drinker or the heavy drinker. And my experience shows me that all bets are off. They're off the table. Christmas, birthdays, funerals, my mum, my sister, my house, my job, my bank balance, my life, my sanity, my safety, fucking nothing matters. I will go anywhere for a party. Anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And how that happens is because of this allergy, this abnormal reaction. When I put that substance in, man, the allergy starts working and it sets off a craving that's beyond my mental control. And I don't come out in a rash or a high temperature. It's thousands of pounds in debt, lost another job, hospital beds, you name it, that's what I came out in. And then this mental obsession starts to talk to me in my own voice, in the story that I want to hear, and tells me lies. That, do you know what? I woke up in my hospital bed this morning. John, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't. You'll be able to go home, have some food, have 4 pints just to stop you feeling rough, and you'll never be at a hospital bed ever again. It's going to be great. Because my brain takes me back to the good times when I'm feeling good, or if I'm in Ibiza, or I'm doing something else, do you know? But it doesn't take me to all the crazy places that it took me at the end of my drinking and drugging, man. And if you're relating to anything that I'm saying, welcome. You could be an alcoholic. And this is how we differentiate them. When you start drinking and taking drugs, can you just stop abruptly? No. When you've stopped drinking, can you stay stopped for a long time? No. When you start drinking and drugging, do you have a choice in what happens or where you end up? No. And can you control whether it's 2 pints or 2 days? No. And if I was answering no to any of these things, then I'm probably an alcoholic who's suffering with an illness which only a spiritual experience is going to conquer. How I got a spiritual experience was by taking on all of the suggestions at Cocaine Anonymous, getting a sponsor, getting a big book. I think that's the only book I've ever read, by the way. Working the 12 steps that's outlined in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. getting connected to this power, which I sort of throw between God, my nanny, and my father. And by doing all of those things, I haven't had to drink or use drugs one day at a time for over 19 months. Wow. Fucking wow. Do you know, man, if anybody is thinking about going sober, it is the best thing that I have ever done with myself. I no longer have that urge and that mental obsession to drink and use. It's been removed. And that's one of those promises that is outlined in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Do you know, I used to think I had all of these friends, and it turns out that we didn't even like each other. We just took drugs together. And I surrounded myself with people in some of these different situations that I found myself in that only occurred because I was drinking and taking drugs. That was it. Do you know, I'm back coaching football and involved in all of these young people's lives and making a positive impact on it. Something that wouldn't have happened because you would not have got me sober on a Sunday afternoon. I haven't missed one of those, which is a fucking miracle. One of the things I had on my vision board, they've all came through this year. It's mental, that vision board, by the way. I wanted to get my own spin class. I've done that. I've now got a permanent spin class in New Age Fitness. I'm scared of heights, so last week or something, I jump out of a plane at 15,000 feet. That was an experience, by the way. Do you know, my t-shirt's on, that's just fate, that was meant to happen. I ran the Edinburgh Marathon. I get promoted at my work. I got my driver's licence back. I've got a car. I've decorated my home from top to bottom. I am happier than I have ever been in my life. I've got all of the external stuff back, nice clothes and stuff about the house, but that doesn't matter. Inside, I am so at peace. My sister will have somebody in the family to look towards and say, look at what my brother can do. My mum doesn't have to worry about me anymore. In case I've been involved in a fight in a nightclub or something mental's happened and I'm there again. I put my head in that pillow at night and I actually sleep. Wow. I'm fit. I'm happy. I'm lean. I came out of debt. This life is the best decision that I've ever made. I used to think that meetings were for people who were injecting heroin. How wrong I was. The same community that I grew up in, I have now opened a Cocaine Anonymous meeting in that very same place, the same building where my father and my uncle would have been conducting their dealings, the exact same building. I get to go there and say, I have broken this cycle. I no longer need to drink and use drugs to cope with life. Wow. If you're watching this, I don't think you will be because I'm not that popular on YouTube. But if you are, I promise you right now, if you're done, truly, truly, truly done with alcohol or drugs or gambling or whatever your vice is, if you have a desire to stop, then I would give you the same promise that my sponsor gave me. And that was that I never needed to drink or use drugs ever again, one day at a time. If I was honest, open minded, and willing to do fucking anything to get another 24 hours sober. That no matter how far down the scale you have gone, you are only 12 small steps away from a whole new life. This has been one of the best things I've been doing as well. I started vlogging all of this stuff. What was I thinking at 100 days? I don't know. But now this has become important to me, to keep talking, keep banging the drum, and keep telling people that there's a fucking way out, man. There is a solution. But you have to put the work in for it, man. The people who get this stuff are people who need it, not people who want it. I fucking needed this. And I cannot tell you how much gratitude I have got for Cocaine Anonymous. And I would say that it saved my life, but it didn't. It gave me an entirely new one. Wow, man, wow. I'm getting shivers when I'm speaking like this just now. It's fucking mental. Sobriety has gave me everything that drugs and alcohol promised me. And everybody has two lives. And your second one will start when you realise that you only have one. Thank you, man.